Welcome to today's Explainer. Grab a cozy seat because we're about to embark on a highly sensory, deeply immersive virtual tour. We're heading to a place that just perfectly balances that crisp, electric urban energy with the serene, completely untouched beauty of the natural world. Today, we are exploring the wonders of Helsinki, Uusimaa, Finland.
But right off the bat, before we even pack our virtual bags, I want you to think about this question for a second. What makes the capital of the happiest country in the world actually tick? I mean, it's a fascinating concept, isn't it? What is that specific, secret recipe that sets this one city apart from literally everywhere else on the globe? Well, let's find out together.
Section 1. Beyond Northern Lights. Discovering Helsinki. Okay, let's dive into this.
Because when you think of Finland, right, a few iconic concepts probably pop into your head right away. First, you've got those mesmerizing northern lights, literally drawing people from all over the planet. Then, of course, the incredibly high happiness rankings. They're famously celebrated for it. Add to that a deeply rooted, almost sacred sauna culture and a vast landscape dotted with, thousands of lakes. It's a country heavily defined by these massive, world-renowned claims to fame.
And this brilliantly illustrates where our focus today comes in. Because while the rest of the country gives us those expansive lakes and stunning auroras, Helsinki actually takes all that Finnish magic and concentrates it into a super dynamic urban environment. Helsinki really elevates the whole Finnish experience by adding layers of rich history, world-class design, and the breathtaking presence of the Baltic Sea to that list. It's that specific, kind of magical blend of coastal and cultural flair that gives the capital its completely unique heartbeat.
Section 2, Trading Town to Capital, Helsinki's History.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because Helsinki's story doesn't begin as some sprawling, influential metropolis. Actually, scratch that. It starts way back in 1550, when King Gustav I of Sweden founded it simply as a trading town. It was strategic, it was modest. But fast forward a couple of centuries to 1812, and this humble little trading post undergoes a massive transformation, officially becoming Finland's capital. It's a wonderfully straightforward, yet incredibly impactful trajectory of centuries of growth.
And because of that rich history, a simple walk through the city today is honestly like stepping directly through time. Just imagine we're taking a stroll right now, walking the pavement together. You'd likely start at the Grand Senate Square, literally feeling the sheer weight of the city's civic history all around you. Look up, and you're immediately greeted by the iconic, brilliant white-domed Helsinki Cathedral, an absolutely striking landmark. And if you just keep heading toward the water, your journey points you right toward the magnificent sea fortress of Suomenlinna.
Now, let's pause for a moment on Suomenlinna. This isn't just any old fort. It holds the incredibly prestigious status of being a designated UNESCO World Heritage Site. But what makes it truly special is the journey to get there. You can't just walk up to its gates from the city center. No, it is accessible only by ferry. Sailing across the water to explore this historic fortress really sets the tone for how intimately intertwined this city is with the sea.
Section 3. Metropolis of Water. Helsinki's Geography.
Now, to understand the true scale of Helsinki, I want you to keep this number in mind, 686. That's Helsinki's total area in square kilometers. Now, that sounds like a pretty massive expanse for a city, right? But the context of what actually fills those 686 square kilometers is what truly defines the everyday lifestyle here.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how that space is actually divided up. Over 70% of that 686 square kilometer area is water. Only 30% is land. This major European capital is overwhelmingly dominated by the sea. You aren't just living near the water in Helsinki. The water is the very foundation of the city itself.
And because so much of the city's area is water, the land itself isn't just one solid, continuous block. No way. Helsinki stretches across an astonishing number of islands, more than 300 of them, in fact. Just imagine that for a second. 300 individual islands weaving together to make up the physical fabric of a single capital city. It's like a giant puzzle.
So here's why this matters, and it's a huge takeaway for understanding the people who actually live here. This unique splintered geography translates directly into incredible lifestyle benefits. Because the city is fractured across so many islands, residents have incredibly easy access to parks, immediate access to dense forests, and constant access to the shoreline. No matter where you're standing in Helsinki, nature is literally just a few steps away. It perfectly explains why residents enjoy such high happiness rankings, right? Their urban environment is seamlessly woven right into the natural world.
Section 4. Foraging, Food, and Local Tips.
So the crucial point is how the locals are actually allowed to interact with all that accessible nature. Finland has a truly amazing cultural rule known as
every man's right. This is a rule that essentially allows anyone, both the locals and the lucky visitors like us, to freely roam and forage in the surrounding forests. It completely empowers you to physically engage with the landscape in a way very few other countries allow.
And if you happen to be visiting Helsinki in autumn, you are in absolute luck. The pace of the city slows down, the air gets wonderfully crisp, and those easily accessible forests offer up an incredible bounty. Under Everyman's Right, you can wander quietly through the trees and forage for fresh, wild bilberries. You can gather tart, bright lingonberries right off the bush. You can hunt for earthy, wild mushrooms just hiding under the autumn leaves. It is a beautifully sensory, totally grounding way to experience the city's natural surroundings.
Of course, all that foraging in the crisp autumn air is going to help you work up quite an appetite. And wow, Helsinki's local menu is incredibly inviting. First, you absolutely must try karjalanpiirakka. These are traditional, savory Karelian pies that are just incredibly satisfying. Next, you gotta warm yourself up with a bowl of rich, creamy salmon soup, a true staple of the Baltic coast. And finally, you finish the whole shebang off with a perfectly warmed cinnamon bun paired with a hot cup of coffee. It's just the ultimate comforting menu after a long day outdoors.
Now, while you're wandering around the city center, happily fueled by coffee and cinnamon buns, here's a quick bit of practical local advice for you. Always keep your head on a swivel and watch out for the trams and cyclists. Helsinki is a highly connected, super active city, and the streets are constantly bustling with these two incredibly popular modes of transport. So, just keep an eye out as you explore.
And one last piece of cultural advice to equip you for your journey. If you drop your map or if someone kindly lends a hand while you're navigating those trams, a simple kiitos, which means thank you, really goes a long way. It is the single most important local word you can carry with you, and it's practically guaranteed to open up a lot of warm smiles.
So we've looked at the grand history, the incredible water-dominated geography, and the cozy, ground-level culture that totally defines this unique capital. I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder today. With its hundreds of islands, its rich trading town history, and the promise of warm cinnamon buns after a day of woodland foraging, is Helsinki your next getaway? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll see you next time.